From the outside, Norway looks like the perfect life. Majestic fjords, endless forests, and the northern lights painting the sky. This is the Norway of travel brochures and Instagram, promising adventure and serenity. But the perfection goes deeper. High salaries, legendary work-life balance, and a profound sense of safety. Norway is sold as a modern utopia, a place where life is lived correctly. For many, it's the ultimate escape from chaos, a dream of calm, health, and meaning. Yet the glossy image hides the subtle realities of daily life. What Norway gives with one hand, it quietly takes away with the other. A truth that only emerges once you live beyond the postcard. The dream of moving to Norway is about more than scenery. It's about peace and stability. In a world of uncertainty, Norway promises order, trust, and a future you can plan for. People crave time for family, safety, and access to healthcare and education without debt. Norway consistently tops global rankings for happiness and quality of life. For many, it's not just a destination, it's the finish line in the search for a better life. On paper, Norway delivers everything you could want. But the reality is more complex than the statistics suggest. Arriving in Norway feels like stepping into calm. Work stays at work, life slows down, and routines become predictable. The systems work, and your evenings are truly your own. But as time passes, the absence of chaos can feel like the absence of energy. Social life is polite but reserved. Spontaneity fades. The drive and urgency that once fueled you are replaced by a steady, even hum. Stability comes at the cost of intensity and ambition. The move isn't just an upgrade, it's an exchange. You gain peace, but sometimes lose a bit of your spark.
The first thing you notice in Norway is the calm, a quiet that settles your mind and body. Life moves at a gentler pace. Stress and urgency melt away. Streets are orderly, conversations measured, and public spaces drama-free. The world stops demanding your constant attention, letting you finally rest. This tranquility is healing, a respite from modern pressures. But over time, the same calm can feel isolating. The absence of noise is also the absence of a certain energy. The peace is real, but it's only the beginning of a deeper adjustment.
In Norway, personal time is sacred. Work ends when the day ends, and evenings truly belong to you. The culture respects boundaries. Late work calls are rare, and weekends are for family, nature, or rest. The pressure to always be productive disappears. This shift is liberating, allowing you to be more than your job. Life becomes a sustainable marathon, not a frantic sprint. For those burned out by hustle culture, this feels like a dream. But it's a fundamental shift. Life is organized around human needs, not corporate demands. Norway's systems run with quiet efficiency. Public transport is on time, bureaucracy is streamlined, and daily life is smooth. High social trust means rules are followed, schedules respected, and order prevails. The stress of broken infrastructure or unreliable services vanishes. You stop bracing for things to go wrong. Life becomes easier and less stressful. The seamless functioning of society is a cornerstone of Norwegian life. It's a foundation for confidence and peace of mind. But even this reliability comes with its own quiet trade-offs. In Norway, daily life follows a predictable rhythm. Shops close early, plans are made far in advance, and routines bring comfort and structure. The year is marked by shared holidays and traditions, making life feel secure and manageable. Yet, over time, this predictability can feel restrictive, as spontaneity and surprise become rare. In Norway, Security means more than just low crime. It's economic, social, and future-focused, supported by a strong safety net and high trust in society. Here you can let your children play outside or leave your laptop at a cafe, knowing you're safe and supported. This is the Norwegian dream, a stable foundation for a calm, meaningful life.
Over time, the constant urgency that once propelled you forward starts to fade. In Norway, the pressures that fueled your drive are gradually removed, replaced by stability and security. The need to hustle vanishes, and life becomes serene, sometimes leaving a void where urgency once lived. It's peaceful and beautiful, but can feel unnerving, like a ship becalmed in a windless sea.
In Norway, social life is quieter and more planned. Spontaneous gatherings and chance encounters are rare. Interactions are polite and genuine, but often reserved and deliberate. You build deep connections with a few, but the vibrant, unpredictable buzz of a larger social scene fades. At first, the calm of Norwegian life feels like a luxury, peaceful, soothing, and safe. But over time, the steady rhythm can blur into monotony. Every day begins to resemble the last, and the lack of variation can become draining. You have everything you thought you wanted, but a quiet sense that something essential is missing lingers. In an environment that prioritizes balance over relentless achievement, a subtle but significant change happens to your ambition. The fierce competitive drive that may have defined your career in another country starts to feel out of place in Norway. Here, the cultural emphasis is not on climbing the corporate ladder as quickly as possible, but on doing your job well within your contracted hours and then going home to live your life. This is a healthier and more sustainable approach to work, but it can also have the unintended effect of dampening professional aspiration. The external incentives for extreme ambition are simply not as strong. In Norway, salary bands are more compressed, meaning the financial reward for reaching the very top is not as dramatically different from being in the middle. The culture values teamwork and consensus, often frowning upon overt self-promotion or aggressive careerism. The good enough philosophy, known as lagom in neighboring Sweden, has its own Norwegian equivalent. The pressure to be exceptional is replaced by a gentle encouragement to be a reliable part of the collective. As a result, the fire to outwork and outperform everyone else begins to cool. This shift can leave you feeling conflicted. A part of you embraces the newfound balance, grateful for the freedom from the rat race. You enjoy having the time and energy for hobbies, family, and personal well-being. But another part of you, the part that was conditioned to measure self-worth through professional achievement, can feel lost. The momentum you once had is gone, and your career trajectory can feel like it has plateaued. You are no longer striving for the next big promotion or the next major accomplishment, and this can lead to a feeling of stagnation. Without the external pressure to push forward, the responsibility for growth shifts entirely onto you. Progress becomes a matter of pure intention rather than a response to your environment. You must actively seek out new challenges, learn new skills, and set your own ambitious goals in a culture that does not necessarily celebrate them. For some, this is a welcome opportunity for self-directed growth, but for others, the lack of external validation and competitive energy makes it difficult to maintain the same level of drive. Your ambition does not die, but it learns to move at a much slower pace. Arriving in Norway, everything feels new and exciting. Even simple things like grocery shopping or taking the bus are adventures. Every day is filled with discovery, and the beauty of Norway is a constant wonder. You feel alive, energized, and convinced you've made the best decision of your life. This honeymoon phase is exhilarating, but it's just the beginning. The novelty wears off. What once felt extraordinary slowly becomes ordinary. The mountain view is still beautiful, but it no longer takes your breath away. The efficient tram is just how you get to work. The foreign becomes familiar, and the special becomes standard. You notice the smaller details, like the high cost of living and long winters. This is when you stop being a tourist and start building a real home. After the novelty has faded, real life begins. This is the phase where you are no longer just experiencing Norway, you are living in it. Your daily existence is no longer defined by tourism and discovery, but by the familiar rhythms of work, chores, and routine. You have a job to go to, bills to pay, and a home to maintain. The grand adventure of moving abroad settles into the quiet reality of day-to-day life. This is the point where many people experience a significant emotional adjustment, as the dream collides with the mundane. Daily life in Norway is not dramatic. It is steady, predictable, and for the most part, uneventful. This is, by design, one of the country's greatest strengths. Society is organized to minimize chaos and maximize stability. But when you are used to a life with more texture, more spontaneity, more challenges, more unexpected highs and lows, this steadiness can be disorienting. You are no longer running on the adrenaline of adaptation. You are now running on the quiet, slow-burning fuel of a normal, structured existence. And for some, that fuel does not provide the same energy. This is when the silence can become deafening. During the honeymoon phase, the quiet was a welcome respite. Now, it can sometimes feel like a void. You have more time for yourself, but you may not know what to do with it. The lack of external pressure and social noise can leave you feeling untethered. You might find yourself missing the buzz of a crowded city, the energy of a spontaneous social gathering, or even the familiar stress of a high-pressure environment. You've traded chaos for calm, but you start to realize that the chaos needs a make you feel alive. The emotional landscape of your life begins to change. The intense joy of discovery is replaced by the more subdued self. The final stage of the emotional adjustment is realizing that the steadiness you once craved can also feel flat. The peaceful rhythm of life, which was so soothing at first, can begin to feel monotonous. The predictability that brought you security can start to feel like a lack of possibility. This is a subtle but profound shift in perception. The very qualities that make Norway a stable and comfortable place to live can become the source of a quiet, creeping dissatisfaction. It is the feeling of being safe, but also stuck. This flatness is not about being unhappy. You might have a great job, a loving family, and a comfortable home. By all objective measures, your life is good. But subjectively, you feel a lack of emotional resonance. The days blend into one another without leaving a strong impression. The weeks pass in a blur of familiar routines. You are not sad, but you are not joyful either. You exist in a calm, gray middle ground. The absence of struggle has also led to an absence of triumph. The lack of risk has led to a lack of reward. You start to notice a change in yourself. The person who was once driven, spontaneous, and full of intense energy has become quieter, more reserved, and more predictable. You have assimilated into the Norwegian way of life, but in the process, you may feel like you have lost a part of yourself. You might try to inject excitement back into your life by planning trips or taking up new, extreme hobbies. But these can feel like temporary fixes for a deeper underlying issue. The environment itself encourages moderation and calm, and fighting against it can be exhausting. This is the emotional core of the trade-off. You gained peace, but you lost a certain kind of passion. You gained security, but you lost the thrill of uncertainty. You gained balance, but you lost the intense stimulation that comes from a life of greater extremes. For some, this is a price well worth paying. For others, it feels like too high a cost. The emotional adjustment is complete when you can look at this flat, steady landscape and accept it for what it is, understanding that the peaceful surface comes with a corresponding lack of depth. Comfort is one of Norway's greatest strengths. Life here is easy. Your needs are met, your rights protected, and your time respected. But this comfort can become a beautiful, gold-plated cage. The safety and ease can quietly limit your drive to grow or take risks. You trade the wild freedom of the open sky for the secure comfort of the cage. Luxurious, but still a cage. In much of the world, growth comes from pressure. Constant challenges push you to adapt and improve. But in Norway, that pressure is absent. The environment lets you exist comfortably as you are. Here, growth must come from intention. You set your own goals and push yourself forward. In this quiet stability, thriving means becoming your own guide. The comfort trap leads to a strange feeling. Being stuck, not in a bad situation, but in a good one. You have stability, security, and peace, yet you feel unmoved. Life is calm, but you're floating with no direction. You're not unhappy, just coasting. For a soul that yearns to journey, stillness can feel like its own kind of prison. The comfort trap is the illusion that a life without problems is a happy life. Norway, with its stability and security, comes close to this ideal. But true happiness isn't the absence of struggle. It's found in overcoming challenges, connecting with others, and finding meaning in the process. A comfortable life and a meaningful life are not always the same thing. Sometimes, comfort just leads to a quiet, unsatisfying emptiness. So, who is Norway really for? Who thrives in this environment of calm, comfort, and predictability? The answer is simple. Norway is ideal for people who are actively seeking peace. It is for those who have grown tired of the noise, the chaos, and the relentless pressure of modern life in other parts of the world. These are individuals who have reached a point where their highest priority is no longer ambition or excitement, but tranquility. They are not looking for a life of high drama and constant stimulation. They are looking for a place where they can finally hear themselves think. These are often people coming from societies that feel unstable or overwhelming. They may have lived with economic uncertainty, political turmoil, or high levels of social stress. For them, the structure and safety of Norway are not restrictive, they are liberating. The predictability is not boring, it is a profound relief. The quiet social scene is not isolating. It is a welcome break from social obligations that felt draining. They have had enough of the fight. They are ready to lay down their armor and live in a place where the battle is already won. For the peace seeker, Norway's trade-off is a clear and obvious win. They are more than willing to exchange intensity for security. They gladly give up spontaneity for the gift of a well-ordered life. They do not feel the loss of urgency as a negative. Instead, they feel the weight of a heavy burden being lifted from their shoulders. The very things that others might find monotonous are the things that they find most healing. They crave a life that is steady, manageable, and free from the constant threat of disruption. Norway provides this in abundance. This environment allows them the mental and emotional space to breathe. It removes the external noise that was causing them so much anxiety, allowing them to focus on their inner world, their families, and their personal well-being. They do not feel stuck. They feel grounded. They do not feel unmoved. They feel centered. For the person whose soul is weary from the world's chaos, Norway is not a comfort trap. It is a sanctuary. It is the destination they have been searching for their entire lives, a place where they can finally find a lasting sense of peace. In Norway, some people are architects of a balanced life, valuing career, family, hobbies, and health equally. Here, leaving work at 4 p.m. or taking long holidays is normal, not judged. The culture and policies support this balance, making it the default setting. For these architects, Norway is a canvas for a rich, well-balanced life.
Some people thrive on intensity, adrenaline seekers who feel most alive in chaos, feeding off the energy of a bustling city or a high-stakes office. In Norway, that energy source is unplugged. The calm, low-stimulation environment feels like a cage, not a comfort. For intensity junkies, it's like being a high-performance engine stuck in a permanent school zone.
Some people struggle in Norway because they are dreamers of dynamic change, entrepreneurs, artists, and innovators who want to build, create, and disrupt. But here, the pace is slow, the systems are set, and stability is valued over bold transformation. For those who want to change the world overnight, Norway's caution can feel like a barrier, like living in a beautiful garden, longing for a wild forest. Living in Norway changes you. It's not just about high salaries or beautiful nature, but how Norway quietly removes chaos and urgency, leaving you with a calmer rhythm. Your frantic pace slows, your life becomes more measured. It's not a simple upgrade, it's a trade-off. The real question, does Norway's rhythm match your soul?
So, we arrive at the final reflection. The reality of living in Norway is far more complex than the picture-perfect image suggests. It is a country of profound dualities. It offers a life of incredible comfort, but that comfort can become a trap. It provides a sanctuary of peace, but that peace can border on monotony. It gives you the gift of time and balance, but it can dampen the fires of ambition and the sparks of spontaneity. The very things that make Norway an almost nearly perfect place to live are also the things that create its most significant challenges. The trade-off is not about exchanging something bad for something good. It is about exchanging one set of values for another. You are trading a life of dynamic, high-stimulation intensity for a life of calm, low-stimulation stability. You are swapping the potential for high-risk, high-reward outcomes for the guarantee of a secure and predictable existence. Neither path is inherently superior. They simply lead to different destinations. They shape you into different versions of yourself. The choice is a matter of profound personal preference, about what you truly value at your core. Before you consider a move, you must ask yourself the ultimate question. What do you truly want from life? Are you searching for peace or for passion? Do you crave stability or stimulation? Are you looking for a safe harbor to rest? Or are you looking for a powerful current to carry you on a great adventure? There is no right answer. Some people need the quiet of the fjord to feel whole. Others need the vibrant energy of the storm to feel alive. Understanding your own nature is the most critical step, because when you choose to live in Norway, you are not just choosing a country. You are choosing your life's tempo. You are choosing the emotional landscape you will inhabit every single day. The idyllic images are real, the benefits are tangible, and the quality of life is undeniably high. But the hidden cost is just as real. Knowing this, knowing that you trade intensity for peace and momentum for security, you are left with one final question to answer for yourself. Would you still make the move?